The camera pans into a sleek, modern studio. Spotlights highlight a polished desk, separating two individuals whose reputations precede them. On one side sits Donald Trump, his signature confidence radiating, leaning slightly forward as though already anticipating an intense exchange. Opposite him is Rachel Miller, a fearless liberal journalist renowned for her uncompromising interviews that often leave her guests flustered. The energy in the room is palpable. Miller begins with a question that cuts straight to the heart of the controversy. Mr. Trump, you've suggested turning Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East, proposing a massive redevelopment plan that critics have called both arrogant and unethical. Many say your approach disregards decades of international law and the human rights of millions. Tell us, do you even care about the Palestinian people, or is this just another real estate deal to you? Trump smirks, taking a moment to adjust his tie before responding. His silence adds weight to the tension, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats. It's clear that this interview is about to delve into uncharted territory. Rachel Miller leans forward, her piercing gaze fixed on Trump. She wastes no time building momentum, launching a series of questions designed to corner the former president. You talk about redevelopment and progress, but what about the human cost? Your plan involves displacing millions of Palestinians, many of whom have already been forced to leave their homes multiple times. Are you seriously suggesting that the solution to Gaza's problems is uprooting its people and relocating them like chess pieces? Trump's expression remains composed, but the subtle tension in his jaw hints at the weight of the accusations. Miller presses on, her voice tinged with incredulity. Let's not forget international law, Mr. Trump. Forced displacement is considered a war crime. What makes you think the world will stand by as you propose something so outrageous? And why should the Palestinian people trust you, a man who has consistently prioritized Israel over their plight? The audience is captivated by Miller's relentless questioning. She raises her voice slightly, ensuring her points resonate with every viewer. You've called Gaza a symbol of destruction. But isn't that destruction partly due to the policies you've supported? Critics argue you've enabled Israeli aggression through one-sided policies that dismiss Palestinian sovereignty. How do you respond to those who say you're perpetuating the cycle of violence rather than breaking it? Trump listens intently, his expression unreadable. Miller continues, now addressing his rhetoric directly. And this idea of turning Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. Do you realize how tone-deaf that sounds to families who've lost everything, homes, loved ones, their entire way of life? Is this really about helping Palestinians? Or is it just about creating a legacy for yourself? By now, the studio is silent except for Miller's impassioned voice. Viewers at home are left wondering if Trump can emerge unscathed from this onslaught of pointed criticism. After a deliberate pause, Trump begins, his tone calm but firm. Rachel, I understand your passion, and I appreciate your concern for the people of Gaza. But let me tell you something. Passion without action solves nothing. For decades, politicians have talked about peace, human rights, and dignity for Palestinians. But what have they achieved? Absolutely nothing. He straightens in his chair, his voice growing more assertive. You call my plan controversial, but controversy comes with courage. My vision for Gaza isn't about politics, it's about pragmatism. Gaza has been a war zone for decades, its people trapped in a cycle of despair and terror. What I'm proposing is a chance to break free from that cycle. Miller interrupts, her tone sharp. By displacing millions of people? Trump raises his hand slightly, signaling for a moment to respond. Rachel, you're mischaracterizing my plan. Relocation would be voluntary, with financial support and resources to help people rebuild their lives. And let's be honest, staying in Gaza as it is today isn't sustainable. You want to talk about dignity? Dignity is giving people a safe, prosperous place to live, not leaving them in a war-torn wasteland. He pivots, addressing the broader conflict. As for Israel, they've been dealing with constant threats from Hamas and other terrorist organizations. Supporting them doesn't mean I'm against Palestinians. It means I'm against terrorism. And let me remind you, Rachel, that no other president has done more to promote peace in the Middle East than I have. The Abraham Accords brought historic agreements that no one thought were possible. Miller jumps in, but those accords didn't address Gaza. Trump doesn't miss a beat. No, they didn't. And that's why I'm here now, offering a bold new vision. Is it perfect? Number. But it's better than the endless cycle of war and empty promises we've seen for decades. Miller, refusing to back down, raises her voice. Mr. Trump, you keep talking about boldness and action, but critics say your plan panders to Israel's far right and completely ignores Palestinian sovereignty. Aren't you just using Gaza as a pawn in your political chess game? Trump's eyes narrow, his tone sharpening. Rachel, let's get one thing straight. I don't pander to anyone. I act based on what's best for America and our allies. And let me tell you something. Supporting Israel isn't just about politics. It's about standing with a democracy surrounded by hostile neighbors. But let's not forget, my plan benefits Palestinians too. I'm offering them an opportunity for a better future, free from the grip of Hamas. The tension escalates as Miller fires back. You say you're offering them a better future, but how is forcing them off their land a solution? Isn't that just creating more refugees? Trump leans forward, his voice rising with conviction. You keep saying forcing, but that's not what this is about. This is about creating opportunities. Gaza, as it is now, is unlivable. I'm offering a chance to rebuild, to start fresh. And let's be honest, no other leader has had the guts to propose anything like this. The debate continues, each side fiercely defending their stance. The ideological clash is undeniable, with both Trump and Miller refusing to yield. The audience, captivated by the intensity, can't look away. As the interview reaches its climax, Miller delivers a final blow. Mr. Trump, your plan has been called reckless, dangerous, and even inhumane. Do you really believe history will remember you as a peacemaker, or will this be seen as another example of your controversial legacy? Trump takes a deep breath, his gaze steady. Rachel, history doesn't remember the critics. It remembers the doers. People mocked me for recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. They said the Abraham Accords would never happen. And yet, I delivered. This plan for Gaza isn't about me. It's about giving people a chance for peace and prosperity. He looks directly into the camera, his voice unwavering. Leadership isn't about making easy decisions. It's about making the right ones, even when they're unpopular. Gaza has been a symbol of despair for too long. It's time to turn it into a beacon of hope. And I'm willing to take the heat to make that happen. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers with a powerful, unresolved debate that will be discussed for weeks to come.